2 months after the bomber who killed 3 people at the Boston Marathon was sentenced to death, the man who murdered 12 people in a Denver cinema escaped the ultimate punishment. Polls suggest a majority of Americans still support the death penalty, but the number of courts imposing the sentence is at a 40-year low.
Final sentencing verdict form.
No two trials are alike, but in the case of James Holmes, at least one member of the jury decided his mental state should be a factor in saving his life.
The person was solidly and definitively in a position where they were going to do a life sentence, and there was no persuading.
Many relatives of those who died were upset, but one went further. Given that potential jurors have to declare their views on the death penalty before being selected, Robert Sullivan suggested the juror had deceived the court. His 5-year-old granddaughter, Veronica Moser, was the youngest of the 12 cinema-goers who were killed while watching the Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises.
So I'm thinking Dark Knight rises and infiltrates the jurors. And when you look at every stage of the verdicts, it doesn't support backing out at this stage, at the very final verdict.
Oklahoma has executed more prisoners than any other state except Texas and Virginia. Potential jurors have to declare themselves willing to impose a death sentence.
The people who would more likely be liberal or open-minded or defense-oriented, they are automatically excluded from the jury panel, because if somebody is 100% opposed to the death penalty, they're not allowed to sit on that jury.
Even so, nationally, the use of the death penalty has been in steady decline. It reached a peak at the end of the last century with 98 executions. Last year there were 35. So far this year there have been 17, though 2 men are due to die in Texas next week. 31 states still have the power to impose the death penalty, but most don't carry it out. In 2013, 9 states executed at least 1 prisoner. Last year it fell to 6. So far this year, only Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia and Florida have put a prisoner to death.
It's looking as though the support for the death penalty is from a smaller and smaller set of groups who are getting older and older. It's looking as though the death penalty is your grandfather's punishment, not the type of punishment that the country is looking towards in the future.
But at present there are more than 3,000 men and women on death row in American prisons. Thanks to one determined juror, James Holmes isn't one of them. Ian Woods, Sky News.